Welcome back, everybody. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back with another scouting report, transfer target, budget, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're doing today because United have a little bit of a problem on our hands as we head into a very, very important summer transfer window. This is Ruben Amorim's first summer transfer window as United manager. This is his first transfer window or summer window with Ineos and stuff. This is really the first summer window of a proper rebuild, and we have to get this right. The problem is we lost the Europa League final. We have no European football next season. This is going to mean less revenue. This is going to mean fines from Adidas. This is going to mean a tough time incentivizing a move to United for potential transfer targets without Champions League football or even European football in general on the table. That does not mean that we are SOL, though. Legends can let people know what SOL means. There are plenty of top quality players right now who are available, whose clubs are also not playing in European football. There are also top players who might be ending their contracts soon. There are also free agents as well who could be enticed to come to United to be a part of this project if they're given assurances over game time, over roles, over the project itself. And these are the players that we need to maybe take a look at. That's what we're doing today. I've looked at a lot of the league tables. I've looked around Europe. I've looked at all over the globe as far as like the Sparta Prague, all this stuff. And I've cherry picked a few players that I think United should be looking at from center midfield, center back, goalkeepers, strikers, all of it. We're looking at a ton of them today, and I want to know your thoughts. So let me make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Make sure that you're subscribing to the channel if you are new. Help us on that road to 3K. You guys are legends, helping the community grow. I'm loving it. I'm having a blast seeing it grow. Let's keep it going. Hopefully we can get to 3K before next season starts. I'm putting out that challenge, you guys. Let me see what you got. Check out the memberships, too, to learn how you can get more involved in the channel and the content, from questions from a boot, scouting reports, to episode ideas for What If. Guys, make sure you go check out Season 1. That is available in the playlist. Season 2 is going to be dropping soon. Keep a lookout for that. And then, of course, be sure to stop by the United vs. Everybody store. You can get tons of one-of-a-kind United gear, hoodies, women's shirts, T-shirts, designed by yours truly. Support the club, support the channel without giving money to the Glazers. As you can see, it is Glazers out. So without further ado, let's dive right into my first target. Not going to be a new name for a lot of you, but it's the first time we've really featured him on the channel, and that is Angelo Stiller. He's going to be the name on everyone's lips this summer. He's already getting a lot of interest from big clubs. He's having an excellent season. 4 goals, 9 assists in all competitions for Stuttgart. Literally in the top 10% for chance creation. As you can see, his main thing is playmaking, ball progression, taking that ball from the defenders, moving it up the pitch, creating opportunities for his team. Top 10% for chance creation. Top 1% for progressive passes for a 90. So he's getting that ball forward and he's getting it into good positions. This guy is a potential future world-class ball progressor and playmaker. I love what I see from him. I would like to see those defensive numbers improve just a little bit, because I think you're going to really sink or swim if you're not able to rely upon some of that physicality. As we've seen, physicality is the name of the game in the Premier League these days, and you are going to have to, carry a little bit of that load, especially in Ruben Amorim's system that demands a lot from his midfielders. He's going to have to be able to do a little off-the-ball work as well. It's been linked with Real Madrid, been linked with Liverpool. 40 million euros seems like the price that I'm reading around a lot. That's not a lot if you think about it. That's just over 30 million pounds. That's next to nothing. They were talking Arden Yashari numbers there. The reason he is a question mark right now, because he is a question mark, is because Stuttgart are in the DFB Pokal final. If they win, they get Europa League. It's just like how the FA Cup works. So that probably means we won't be able to check them out of there. If they lose, though, no European football altogether for Stuttgart, and that makes it a little easier prospect. It is hard for us to appeal to players who are good, who are in high demand, like Stiller, but we did the same thing with Lenny Yoro, even though Madrid came calling, and here we are. So it would take a big ask, especially now with all these big clubs circling as well. So we'd have to convince him of the project, maybe even have to offer more money on a weekly basis. But I do like what I see from Stiller. I do think he would instantly improve our midfield. He could very easily walk into that midfield. Takes a little bit of the onus off Bruno, allows Bruno to stay a little higher up the pitch and do what he does best. So I do like this. Very similar, I think, to Arden Yashari, a little bit more progressive, but I think that's mainly because Yashari's being asked to sit a little deeper at Club Brugge. I think that if you let Yashari off the leash, he'll do it. But I do like Stuttgart a lot. So I know you guys are always banging on about him. I wanted to make sure that I gave him his flowers and made sure we give him the attention he deserves. So that's first name on my list. Got the big guy out of the way here. So moving on to number 2, and that's Dan Neil. Plays for Sunderland in the Championship. Center midfielder, 23 years old. Very good on the ball. Very good at just kind of patrolling that midfield area. Kind of a good holding metronome, kind of focal point. Gets the ball, keeps it moving. Gets the ball, keeps it moving. Very press resistant as well, which you guys know I do like from my midfielders, especially those deeper roles. I do think that aside from speed, strength, composure is probably the most important trait from a deep midfielder. You have, especially nowadays with the pressing that's going on, in the energy and the physicality, you have to be able to hold the ball. You have to be able to receive it under pressure without panicking, and you have to be able to create space for yourself. And Dan Neil does this very well. 2 goals, 3 assists in all comps right now. Excellent ball progressor, like I said. His ball progression numbers and his take-ons, carrying the ball, moving the ball, very, very high. I like what I see. Very good holding midfielder. A little bit of interest from Everton, a little bit of interest from West Ham as well. But it is Roma, surprisingly enough, who are Sunderland's sister club, who have also thrown their name into the mix this season for Dan Neil's services. Just £10 million could get this deal done. I think that's worth a snip as well. It's probably less than what you're going to pay for someone like Hackney. But again, there's a lot of good players out there in the Championship. And if you can cut your teeth in the Championship, if you can excel in the Championship, I think that you're going to be able to do just fine in the Premier League. I'm not saying you're going to be balling out in the Premier League necessarily. We don't know that. But I think that puts you on a really good platform to step up into the Premier League. So Sunderland could get that promotion. We'll see how they do against Sheffield United. But I do like Dan Neil a lot. So you guys let me know what you think about Dan Neil. I'll move on to my next target. That is Neil El Ainaoui, Algerian. Plays for RC Lens in Ligue 1. Plays as a center midfielder, center defensive midfielder. I'm not sure why that says right wing back. My bad, guys. I thought I changed it, but 23 years old, very, very good midfielder. Good chance creation, very good at his duels, very physical, very, very good at interception. I do like a lot this kid. 8 goals, 1 assist in all comps. Again, he's got goals. He's got defensive actions. He wins his duels, his interception. He does it all. He's in the top 5% right now for interceptions and blocks. Top 20% for aerial duels, which we know we do like a little bit of that physicality in our midfield. He nearly moved to Monaco in January. Ironic, since he scored a brace against them just recently, but he has needed surgery on his knee, and that surgery did prevent that move. He did fail his medical, but he seems like he's doing just fine now. His price at that point back in January was just 20 million euros, you guys. This guy could be done for like 20, maybe 25 million pounds tops in the summer. And I mean tops. I'm talking 25 million pound package for this kid. Doesn't mean he's bad. It just means he's coming from RC Lens. And I think that makes him a bargain. Juventus are reportedly interested now. So we'll see how that goes. Juventus have some culling I think they've got to do. We know they maybe want to get rid of Douglas Luiz. And now El Ainaoui could come in and fill that route. But Lens also do want to try to tie him down to a new contract. And so he's probably waiting to the summer, see what his prospects are, see who's coming for him, and then he's probably going to make a decision. But I do think he's going to be on the move. I do think he's worth a look, and he will be cheap, and I do think he improves our midfield. But you guys let me know what you think about El Ainaoui if you guys are watching any Ligue 1 this year, what you've seen, what you've heard. I like him. I think he's a great player. Moving on to a player that's probably my top pick, among the center midfielders that I'm looking at today, and that is Nicholas Sewald. Plays for RB Leipzig. Center defensive midfielder / center midfielder, 24 years old. I think that's a good age. It's not too young, but old enough to where he's got experience. He's playing in Europe all the time and stuff. Not anymore, though. RB Leipzig are not in Europe. They missed out on European football altogether this season. They've had a hard season. So you look for a lot of those players to be leaving. We're going to talk about another one here shortly. But Nicholas Sewald is an absolute monster. He's physical. He's got mentality, which is something that is probably top on my priority list this summer for players. Good tackling, good interception. He's an excellent presser of the ball. Good ball progression as well. The guy also has just this natural ability to win the ball without giving away a foul. He does it all the time. He was like one shy of tying the record. I think it was Philip Lahm at the Euros this past summer for winning tackles without conceding a foul. I think Philip Lahm had him beat by one in a single tournament. Leipzig paid like a 17 million release clause a couple years ago to bring him from RB Salzburg. So did they really pay 17 million release clause? We were linked to him actually this past summer, but nothing really ever came out of it. Leipzig they're in the same boat as us. No European football. This could be time for us to swoop in to make somebody kind of want to make that jump to Manchester United. Yes, RB Leipzig are doing well in these last several years. I think Nagelsmann kind of put them on the map. Christopher Favel has some ties with the RB group, so maybe there's some connections there from his time as well. Maybe that could be an inside man for us. But I do like Nicholas Sewald very, very well. I think he comes in and he locks up that midfield. I think he offers more on the ball than Ugarte does. And I think he's got the legs that Casemiro doesn't. And so I do think that he comes in and he's an instant starter in our starting 11. He and someone next to him who's a little bit more of a progressor or passer, someone like a Yashar or something, or maybe even a Kabi Menu who's better at maybe carrying the ball onto his feet. I think that could be an excellent pivot. Currently valued at 20 million euros, but it's going to be you're probably looking at roughly twice that to get him out of Leipzig. But I do like him a lot. Some other familiar faces in this position are going to be Hayden Hackney and Arden Yashar. You guys know we've spoken about them several times. I'm not going to go into too much detail, just figured I'd throw them back out there because they both will be bargains. Yashar, you guys have heard me wax lyrical about this kid. And then obviously Hayden Hackney is an excellent midfielder doing his thing at Middlesbrough. So those are the center midfielders, you guys. Nicholas Sewald, Neil El Enawi, Dan Neil, and then, of course, we had Angelo Stiller as well. So for technically 6, you could say, but I think they're all going to be great. None of them are playing in Europe. Potentially Stiller is the only one, but we'll see how it goes. Let's move up to the pitch to the number 10 role, starting with the obvious one, but he's a player that I've liked for several years since he was balling out at PSV Eindhoven. He's still very, very young, wants to leave Leipzig this summer, not playing European football next year, and that is Javi Simons. Center attacking mid / left midfielder, still just 22 years old, but the kid is just an absolute world-class machine. Energy for days, excellent passing, buzzing around, causing problems, movement in and around the box, chance creation, has a wicked long shot on him. Again, similar to his teammate Sewald, Simons has no European football next season. So he's already made it clear he wants to leave this summer, and that's coming from Fabrizio Romano. 11 goals, 8 assists this season in all comps. But again, the kid has been class for several years. He's got excellent passing numbers. His shot creation, his chance creation is off the charts. And he doesn't shy away from his defensive duties as well. He puts on the shift off the ball, which is what you're going to need. You have to be able to get back and help your team. I think he'd be excellent in one of the 10 roles at United. The question is just going to be cost. He is the priciest one on my list today, reportedly £60 million, which on its face doesn't seem expensive. But when we're facing a loss of potential revenue, when we're going in with a budget, and we are once again relying on player sales to boost our transfer budget, 60 million is a big chunk of change. Maybe we can send Leipzig a player, maybe a youngster on loan. I don't know. But if I had my choice, this guy would be up with Rayan Cherki as a big name on my list. The usual suspects have already been linked for Javi. United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Bayern, Liverpool, et cetera, et cetera. The usual names you're always going to see when a young player comes out. But I like this kid a lot. I've liked him for years. Go look up his numbers at PSV Eindhoven and they will blow you away. But Javi Simons, yes, seems like an obvious one. But again, it's obvious for a reason because he's that good. Moving on. Arda Güler. So, dude, we have to take advantage. At some point, we have to start taking advantage of Florentino Perez's greed and hubris. And we need to get some of these players out of there who just they're stockpiling because they're the next young thing, but they're not really getting the minutes they probably deserve, a la Martin Odegaard, who was there for years before finally making the jump to Arsenal. Is that Güller's going to force a move out of Madrid if he doesn't get assurances of game time. And he's not unjustified in that. It's only recently that he's been getting consistent starts now that the season's pretty much done and dusted. Madrid have nothing to play for. And the thing is there's going to be a big managerial change. Sometimes that can mean a cull. Sometimes that can mean a manager wants to see his squad before making the decisions. But you never know. And plus, Javi Alonso plays a whole new formation. Does Güller fit in that formation? Remains to be seen. Ancelotti, though, has basically said Güller needs to understand that limited game time, limited minutes, even the frustration at those things, that's normal for a young player at Real Madrid. But word on the street is Güller's representatives are not content with that explanation. They want assurances. 5 goals, 8 assists for a 20-year-old at Real Madrid when you're not getting regular minutes. Those aren't bad numbers. And Güller is exactly the sort of player that we need for the number 10. His chance creation, his shots, his progressive numbers, they're all excellent. Off the ball, he puts in a shift as well. He's in the top 10% for young attacking midfielders for tackles and blocks per 90. That's very, very good. You may be asking yourself, Sean, how is this a bargain? He's going to be expensive. But the bargain does not come from the outright purchase. Bargain comes from a loan, maybe with an obligation or an option to buy. Helps us save a little money over a year. Cross that bridge when we get to it in the summer. Might not be a bad idea. Güller reportedly only wants either more minutes or a permanent move, though, at Madrid. So this could be one to watch this summer. We'll see what happens, what Xabi Alonso has in store, but this could be an interesting one. I would love it if we could find a way to take advantage of this. You guys let me know what you think about Arda Güler, but I love this kid. I think he's excellent. He was great at Fenerbahce as well. Let's move on to my next target in that number 10 role. And we're looking, oops, sorry, wrong one, guys. Deleted that guy, forgot about that. Let's look at Gustavo Sa. So playing right now at Famalicão, Portugal, plays in the number 10 role, just 20 years old, but he shows a style, a confidence, composure on the ball, and just the reading of the game that you wouldn't expect to see from a 20-year-old kid. His hold-up play is excellent, very, very good. His playmaking, he gets involved in a high press as well. He's not shy from trying. He just wants to be involved. 4 goals, 6 assists in all comps this season for Gustavo Sa. Again, very confident young player. I like that. We need mentalities. We need a little bit of that precociousness. Now, confidence is one thing, but you have to have the ability to back it up, and this guy does. He's, like I said, his ball progression, his chance creation, his hold-up play, excellent. But he's also defensively sound. His tackles, his clearance, his aerial duels, excellent for a young attacking midfielder, comparatively speaking. He plays in a position that we need. He's works in and around that right-sided inside channel, right where those number 10s are going to work. Now, there's a lot of interest in him already. Porto reportedly made a move in January, but they didn't think that he was worth the 15 million euros that Famalicão asked. I think that he is. Inter have recently been interested. Reportedly, Inter are reaching out. They're trying to maybe see if they can bring him to bolster their squad. I would love to see us maybe. We've already been linked to guys like Nipan, Rodrigo Mora. Similar guy. I like Gustavo Sa a lot. 15 million euros is a snip, honestly, for a young player like this. You're going to pay more than that for someone like Tyler Dibbling, for instance. This guy's, he's older. I think he's doing it on a bigger stage. I like what I see, but you guys let me know what you think about that. Other familiar faces that are worth mentioning. I didn't go into too much detail on these guys because we've talked about these guys before, but like Rayan Cherki, Angel Gomez available on a free. Jack Rudoni, the Coventry City attacking midfielder that I mentioned last week in a scouting report. Go look him up too. Obviously, Mastan Tuono, who we've all been talking about for a while. Bilal El Kanous, I didn't mention him because I mentioned him a while back in my relegation player targets video. So go check out that one too. Tyler Dibbling is another one that we've been linked to. Probably, I don't buy the numbers that have been quoted for Tyler Dibbling, but we could offer him a cheap way out of Southampton. And then Sfer Nipan, who I just mentioned as well. All these guys are worth mentioning as well, but I didn't go into detail because I've done that at nauseum many times in the past. So those are my number 10s. Let's kind of move around a little bit to some different areas on the pitch, shall we? Let's go take a look at left back. So Say hello to Harrison Burroughs. I know who, right? No, I'm just kidding. Very highly rated young left back slash left wing back playing with Sheffield United, just 23 years old. Excellent chance creation numbers, gets really involved in goals. He's got 6 goals, 6 assists in all comps this season. He's had 1 goal and 3 assists, so 4 goal involvements over 2 legs in Sheffield United's semifinal against Bristol City. Last season, he was at Peterborough, where he was an absolute monster. 12 goals, 17 assists from that left back spot up here. Like, the guy was a machine. So I'm looking at our left back numbers, and I know you're like, Sean, we just signed Dogu. What are you doing? I'm looking at guys. We have Amos. We have Diego Leon. He's not even here yet, and he's still just 18. And we just signed Patrick Dogu, but Dogu is still just 20. And like I've said a couple times recently, I look at those 3 left back options, and you could throw Luke Shaw in there if you want to. I don't really consider that an option, but I'm not confident 100% in any of those guys, Amos, Leon, Dogu. I'm not 100% confident that they're able to be our go-to starting 11 left wing back on a weekly basis. It's not that they're bad. They're just young. They need a lot of development, and I don't know if we can afford to do that. We've already seen how we've struggled when we've got a whole attacking line that's full of young, inexperienced players who are so inconsistent. We can't have that in a very high priority position that honestly we've been weak in for a couple of years now in terms of left back. So I think we could do with some strengthening in that position. I think Harrison Burroughs is a good option. He's English experience, knows English football very well. Like I said, very highly rated. His chance creation and his involvement in play in those advanced areas is excellent. It would probably cost you around 15 to maybe even 20 million to get Burroughs. But I do like him a lot. An honorable mention in this position too is Adrian Truffert, who is at Rons right now, young left back there. He is worth it. I've mentioned him in the past before, though, so I don't want to get into it too much. But I like Harrison Burroughs a lot. He reminds me a lot of like when Leif Davis, when we spoke about him a couple of times when he was at Ipswich, some of that chance creation. Obviously, Davis didn't replicate that at Ipswich, but that was a big ask. Sheffield United are not just newbies to the Premier League. They are a little bit of a yo-yo, but if they get promoted, it might be a little more costly. If they don't get promoted, you probably could get him cheap. He's at a good age. I think he's ready for a step up. Loads of Sheffield United fans agree. I've read online. They think he's ready. They think he's got the potential to jump into that England squad soon. Keep a lookout for this kid. He's going to be something. I really do believe that. So that was the only left back, though. I'll move on to the next player on my list right now. I know I've spoken about him before, but I wanted to talk about him again just because I like him so much, and that's Joan Garcia. Espanyol's 24-year-old Spanish shot stopper. Shot stopping is the name of the game. The guy is an excellent save. He commands his area. Espanyol are in 17th place, so technically he would be making the step up to 16th place, right? Unless we lose this weekend and Spurs win. But he has just a 20 million pound release clause this summer, which is an absolute no-brainer. He's 3rd in La Liga right now for save percentage. He's 1st in La Liga for saves per 90 and goals prevented. Now, he's been linked to Arsenal. I don't know what Arteta's thinking. He's gone through keepers like they're going out of style. I don't get it. I doubt he's going to want to come in and be a backup to David Raya unless David Raya is on his way out. But another new name has also been linked to Joan Garcia recently, and that's Aston Villa. Now, we know that Emi Martinez is probably going to be leaving this summer on a free. Aston Villa are big prospects right now. They want to make a strong push. Don't sleep on that. I think that would be a master stroke by them to bring in Joan Garcia. But for 20 million, we do need an improvement on Andre Onana. I think Andre Onana has cost us points. He's cost us match. He's cost us Champions League group stage last season. And we can't move forward with him. We just can't. He's going to hurt us. We will suffer if we have to deal with Andre Onana in goal. That goal we conceded on Wednesday in the final was literally down to Andre Onana playing a huge role in that. Go watch that goal back and tell me how that ball finds its way into the net with where Onana is. I can't explain it. But again, Joan Garcia is probably going to want to leave with Espanyol down in the doldrums. 20 million gets it done. Pay the release clause, I think. Just get it done. And we just go from there, man. But you guys know we talked about him. I won't spend too much time, but I do want to talk about another keeper that I mentioned the other day. He has been on my list for a while, this guy, but I think that I just held off because of the fact that Sir Jim and Ineos own Nice as well as United, and we weren't able to do anything last summer. But Marcin Boca is an excellent keeper. 25 years old, really good age for keeper. His shot stopping is good. He commands his box. He comes out and claims those crosses. He's 6'6". He's an absolute unit. 75% save percentage right now, which is first in Ligue 1, sixth right now in Ligue 1 for saves per 90. The reason he's on here is because not only is he a good keeper, but he's entering the final year of his contract and he doesn't want to extend his contract. So we're also not in Europe. Now Nice are in Europa League, but we're not in Europe, so there's no conflict there. And so I do think that you could get him, maybe entice that, since maybe Nice might want to get some money out of that. Maybe we can send them someone like Vitic or something. I don't know, but I really like this guy. I've liked him for a couple of years now. I think he's very good. I think he could definitely improve us, gives us some more of that commanding in the box, that shot stopping, that fearlessness that we've been missing from the goalkeepers. So Onana needs to go. Bring me Joan Garcia. Bring me Marcin Boca. Get it done. Other names that I put on this list as well. Alex Merritt, now Napoli literally just won the Scudetto. Scott McTominay named player of the season for Serie A. The entire league, by the way, because he and Lukaku scored in this final match to lift that Scudetto. But Alex Merritt's going to be free. 28 years old, gets that one done. Decent keeper, not hard to be improvement upon Onana. Other name is Emi Martinez. Take that from a free agent this summer. Use him for a couple years and then revisit goalkeeper position in a year or two. I don't see that as a bad option as well. I think that would be just almost a no-brainer. And then my other option is actually Radik Vitic, the youngster from our academy, off doing it in the Austrian league or the Romanian league. I can't remember off the top of my head. At BW Linz, where he had an excellent start to the season. Remember, he featured in that single game for us in preseason. It had an excellent showing. I don't know what the plan is for Vitic. We don't seem to trust our academy keepers very much. We let go of Joe Pereiro. We let go of Matty Kovar, and I wonder if Vitic's going to go the same. But it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to bring in Vitic and kind of make him a main part of the matchday squad, if not starting over Onana. But I doubt they will be here. I bet Vitic, if I had to guess right now, Vitic's going to be sacrificed this summer to get some funds again, same as Matty Kovar. So keep a lookout on that one. But Marcin Boca, I like a lot. Let's move on to a different position. You guys keeping up. Make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribing so far if you like what you see. And make sure you get involved in the comments too if you have any suggestions as well. Remember, the criteria are, entering the final year of the contract, free agents, probably not playing in Europe, but then also like just cheap as well, those low release clauses. I've tried to tick those boxes because we do have to kind of shop in the bargain aisle this summer. Again, doesn't mean they're bad players, as you can see. It just means that we have to be creative when it comes to the financial side of things. So moving on to another position, we're looking at center back, starting with Ipswich Town's hulking center back, Jacob Greves. 24 years old, English, ticks a lot of boxes. Left-sided, physical, just gets it done. He's like a more athletic, quick Harry Maguire. He's just big, he's getting it done, but he also adds a little bit of that dribbling. He's got aerial duels on his side, tackling, ground duels on his side. We need a no-nonsense left-sided center back. Ipswich are relegated. He's probably going to be available for a snip. We need someone who just gets things done in the box. He's got good tackles, good clearance, good aerial duel percentiles. That's what we need. He's going to be a very cheap Jared Branthwaite, basically. West Ham have been linked. Everton have been linked. Again, seems like those kind of type of player for those teams. Everton were supposedly linked when there was a chance that Branthwaite could be leaving. I like Jacob Greaves. No, he's not going to be I don't think he pushes out of 100% fit Licha. I don't think he pushes out De Ligt, but he is a good fourth option as we head into the season. So I like him a lot. Again, we need depth in that position right now. Could be available for a snip. But another player I like in that position, who you guys might not have heard of, this is probably the lesser known of all the players today. That is Martin Vitic. I know, right? Who? He plays for Sparta Prague, which is where Matty Kovar went on loan and had an absolute stormer of a season before he went to Leverkusen a year or two ago. 22 years old, young center back. The guy is physical. He gets involved in these aerial duels. He's actually great on set pieces, both ends of the pitch. But he's also a little bit more modern in that he's very, very good at carrying the ball out from his box and building out from the back. If you look at his heat map, the whole right side of his half, including into just inside the opposition half, is just red. The guy can get up and down that pitch. Good recovery, good speed, which is what we're going to need in this system. Team of the week 4 times this season with Sparta Prague Vitic. Very good at building out the back, like I said. He's in the top 30% for center backs when it comes to ball carries per 90. Very good at set pieces. Like I said, he's in the top 10% for touches in the opposition box. He's actually scored 4 goals from inside the opposition box. So again, I like what I see. His clearance numbers, his blocks are very good. Again, we struggle just to clear the danger. We struggle against those set pieces. And I do think Vitic represents the profile that we need to be looking at. Athletic, big, but also a little bit more modern in that he can carry that ball out from the back. The reason he's on this list is because he's entering the final year of his contract. So he could be available for cheap because Sparta Prague probably don't want to lose him for nothing. Galatasaray are reportedly interested in him. Real Betis and Fiorentina have been linked to him in the past. He's probably going to cost you around, I would say, £15 million, maybe 20 with add-ons, but snip for a young 22-year-old center back who's actually a very good modern profile center back. I think he would suit the system very well. But those are my center backs. Other names that I've mentioned before that are worth mentioning again in terms of bargains would be Olivier Bichali, available for free. Has been linked to Monaco, I think, recently. I've seen him linked to Dortmund and Brighton. Haven't really heard much since the middle of the year, but we'll see what happens with Bichali. It's gone very quiet. CJ Egan-Riley, Burnley's young center back, who I think is just excellent. He reminds me of like a young Mark Gahey or something. They're getting promoted. We'll see what happens there. His contract is up this summer. West Ham were also interested in him as well. It seems like West Ham just wants center back. And then another player I really like at Vélez Sarsfield, and that is Valentin Gomez, young left-sided center back. Very good ball progressor, very good on the ball, very good passer. I like him a lot, very athletic. I think he's been linked to Bologna, but who at Vélez Sarsfield hasn't been linked to Bologna recently? Literally everybody is. So those are the other 3 familiar faces that you guys have seen me mention in the past in terms of center back. Let's move on to an exciting area of the pitch. And that is Mohamed Amora. So Amora, you guys have heard me mention him in the past. I am absolutely in love with this kid, man. He's a very similar profile to Omar Marmoush or, like I said in the stream earlier, Anthony Martial. He's very similar to Anthony Martial in the sense that they're very good with the ball, very good in these 1v1s on the ball, can play wide, can drift inside, but can also play in like a front two and can even lead the line when needed. And I think Amora is ready to lead the line. I don't know why. I keep forgetting to like check these, but Amora is not 20 years old, you guys. Sorry. That's a typo on my end. He's not 20 years old. He's 25 years old. My bad, guys. So Amora is 25 years old. Ignore what you see there, but very good playmaker, very good dribbler, very good scorer of in these tight areas. He was on loan this year. He joined Wolfsburg on loan from Union Saint-Gilloise in the Belgian league, but they did make that permanent. And so they exercised that permanent option for like 15 million. Now Wolfsburg tend to play with 2 strikers. They do sometimes switch to a 4-2-3-1, which is not a problem. When they do that, Omora typically will go operate on that left-sided channel. 10 goals, 9 assists in all comps this season from that left-hand side, which is very good. He's kind of splitting those with Wind. Last year, though, at Union, 21 goals and 7 assists as part of a front 2 pairing. He was also very, very excellent in the Europa League. Remember, he scored against Liverpool, I believe, in the Europa League. Again, like Marmoush, Amora's 25. He's been playing kind of as a 2. I think he is ready to be the main guy. I think he's that good. I think he's got that experience. I think he can handle that weight now. He's done it in Europe. He's made the move. He's shown that he can make a step up to the Bundesliga from the Belgian league, and he's handled it just fine. I think he's ready to do it, especially in a Ruben Amorim system where you're not just the tip of the spear. You're not just like, hey, get in the box and do this. Unless you're Harry Maguire and we need a goal in the last 5 minutes, then yes, that's your job. But we have Maguire for that, right? But no, I think What you're going to get from Amora is someone who's good at receiving the ball, good in tight areas, good at progressing the ball, good at linking up play, and then obviously popping up with a goal. He's going to be expected sometimes in this system to drop a little deeper, like I said, to help in the build-up or make these runs off of defenders in the channel. I think he's going to be better at that than Hoyland. He's quicker. He's got a lower center of gravity. Again, very similar to Anthony Martial, very similar to Marmouche. But he's also versatile, and that's what I'm getting at. He can do a little bit of everything in that front area, which is, I think, better than just being limited in what you can do. Again, Wolfsburg made this move permanent, but apparently he can be available for roughly $50 million this summer because Wolfsburg did miss out on European football this year, so they're not going to be playing in Europe next year. I like this guy a lot. Forest have been linked. Leverkusen have been linked. Reportedly, Ten Hag's going to Leverkusen, so we'll see how he feels about that. But I like Amora very much. You guys let me know your thoughts. Other familiar faces in this position you guys have heard me talk about in the past are Jonathan David, available on a free. Would be hard to get him to come to United without Champions League football because there are going to be Champions League clubs who are interested. And then the other one is going to be Benjamin Sesko. Not doing as well as I think a lot of people would expect. But again, Leipzig do kind of play a different system where he's not the only guy up there, basically. They've got Openda up there doing bits as well. So the goals are being shared at RB Leipzig. Poulsen will come in and rotate with them too. But Benjamin Sesko, I think if he goes to a club where he is the main guy, where you've got chance creation coming in, like guys like Bruno Fernandes, he's quick, he's tall, he gets the job done. I think he's good in the hold. I think Benjamin Sesko could be very, very good. He could be one of those youngsters who is ready, or youngsters, but younger strikers who's ready to kind of level up. And again, Leipzig aren't in Europe either, so he could be, a deal is there to be done. But Jonathan David, Benjamin Sesko, and then, of course, Mohamed Amora are my big budget bargain bin striker signings because they're not in Europe. So you let me know your thoughts. That is going to be it from me. A lot of players there. I kind of breezed right through those, but I did want to get those all out there to see what you guys think. Some of them might be a little pricey. Some of them might be a little far-fetched. And yes, some of them we are waiting to see on how their cup finals go. But I think all these guys could be done, would represent a good, solid start to the rebuild. I think they improve our squad. They add depth. They raise the floor. And they do challenge for a spot in the starting 11, a lot of these guys. So we'll see what happens in the summer. I hope that we're linked to a couple of these guys. I hope we're looking at a couple of these guys at least. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please, please, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new and you like what you see. If you like what you see and want to get even more involved, check out the memberships and learn how you can do that. And go check out the UVE store for one-of-a-kind gear, like I said. Until next time, you guys, I will see you later. Enjoy your weekend, and hopefully we can start this rebuild right this summer. I think these guys represent the good way to do that. So take it easy, and I will talk to you later. Bye.